product provided by Nintendo. Oh my God, people online is stupid. Conversation around Xenoblade X Definitive Edition have kicked up again, and I'm just convinced that people don't know what they're talking about. There is this perception amongst some people that the game was a failure. I think I know where that perception comes from. I just disagree with it. In this video, I want to talk about where that perception actually comes from, why I disagree with it, and where I think this series is going to go from here. Because people are really trying to make a mountain out of a molehill. Hello, everybody. It's your boy Jmulls, and let's continue this
Cause of the righteous.
We first need to begin with something very fundamental that will serve as the backdrop for this entire conversation surrounding the success of Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition. People online don't know what the hell they're talking about. If you're chronically online or go to Twitter, you'll notice that quite a few people want to act as if Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition is just a straight up failure. Now, what do they base that thought on? Well, nothing actually substantial. It's a mixture of looking at YouTube views for right now for Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition, as well as a bunch of people misreading a tweet and being led to believe, not even being led to believe, they just believed that the game hadn't sold 1 million copies at a certain point in time, when that's not what it said at all. People just can't read. So here's the thing, we don't know how Xenoblade X Definitive Edition did. We just don't know. I can't say that it's a commercial success, and I also can't say that it's a failure, because we just simply don't know. And until Nintendo themselves reveal how the game financially did, we're not going to know. And to this day, I have yet to see anything from Nintendo that illustrates how this game performed. Everyone is just going off of guesswork, because Nintendo don't always update the sales figures for Xenoblade games. But again, because people online can't freaking read, they read a report of confirmed games over 1 million copies, didn't see Xenoblade X there, and then were led to believe, or they led themselves to believe, that also means Xenoblade X Definitive Edition haven't sold 1 million copies at the time of that tweet, when the sales figures for Xenoblade X aren't confirmed. So people acting like it's this giant financial failure are operating under a delusion. It could be, but we don't know. And acting like we do know doesn't do anyone any favors. The other thing, YouTube views for Xenoblade X aren't that good. You can look at my own videos on Xenoblade and Xenoblade X and look at, hey, yeah, the views for X Definitive Edition at this point aren't as high as some other Xenoblade videos. But again, we come to the point where the internet doesn't know what they're talking about. Xenoblade X Definitive Edition, and also the original version of Xenoblade X, is a fundamentally different style of game to 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3 are far more cinematic focused. They're far more focused on telling a consistent story unraveling over the entire experience, whereas Xenoblade X is focused on having you immerse yourself in this world, going at your own pace, slowing things down, and exploring. Well, one of those is way more conducive to online reaction clips and short-form content than the other. And the types of content that would do well for Xenoblade X, which is like guide content, are already made. I've made them, Enel's made them, other people have made them. That stuff is already out there. If people want to learn how to play Xenoblade X, that information's already out there. It's not like Xenoblade 1, 2, and 3, where for a lot of people, they remember very specific moments in the story and want to relive them vicariously through watching reaction videos of other people. Some people are like that for Xenoblade X, but again, it's a fundamentally different game because the style of story is also fundamentally different. That type of experience doesn't always necessarily translate all that well to YouTube videos and streams months after the game's release. And if you don't adapt and change your content according to what people actually want to see when it comes from a game, of course views are going to be down. Because interest in content that works for a different style of game doesn't necessarily translate to interest in that same style of content for a different style of game. You want to know the type of Xenoblade videos that I have found on my channel to do the best lately? It's the ones talking about Switch 2. Because this is where I actually do ding Nintendo and or Monolith. I don't care who's at fault, I just know somebody is on this front, for not doing Switch 2 versions of Xenoblade 1, 2, and 3, but also X Definitive Edition. I talked about before even Xenoblade X Definitive Edition being announced that if they were going to do a Definitive Edition, it should be for the launch of the Switch 2. You can also release it on the Switch 1, sure, but have something for that new hardware because that's where all the PR is going to go. Of course, when Nintendo of all corporations puts out a new piece of kit, people are going to be excited for their new hardware. I have a Switch 2. It's my favorite console in the market right now. There's a lot of hype and excitement for that kit. Again, despite what online sentiment would have you believe, because people online are in their own echo chambers and don't know what the hell they're talking about. There's a lot of hype and excitement for the new piece of kit from Nintendo, and a lot of people online don't want to just focus on a game that released last generation. Some do. It's not like entirely one or the other. It's a spectrum. It's just heavily favored towards one side. Let's just square one thing away. Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition is a phenomenal game. Is it a perfect game? No, but a lot of the issues that it does have are also present in the numbered games. We'll get into that in the next section of the video. But what I'm saying here is, you can't look at online sentiment to judge whether or not something is necessarily popular, because if that was the case, people would lead you to believe the new Pokemon game was bought by like 15 people. When that is not the case, a lot of people out there play it. I didn't. I don't particularly care about Pokemon, but I'm not every person out there. You can't rely on the echo chambers that online algorithms force everyone into to be an accurate judge of the population on the whole. That's just not how anything works. What we are dealing with right now are a bunch of people that think they know what they're talking about because they're focused in their own individual little bubble, but they actually don't know what they're talking about. Again, I'm not saying Xenoblade X was some big success or anything. I'm just saying we don't know how it did. Engaging YouTube views, in my opinion, for a game that doesn't have too many like big reaction moments, the clip, months after the game came out, when a whole new console has come out in the meantime, with no known DLC or future game having been announced right now, I don't think is doing anyone any favors. After Xenoblade 3 came out, not too long after, we knew that there was going to be DLC. That kept the hype train going. Xenoblade 3, you know what? Let's talk about this.
Cause of the righteous.
The marketing for Xenoblade 3 was good. It headlined a direct. It had its own direct. It was very loud and in your face. For Xenoblade X, it was just a bunch of shadow drop trailers coming out on random Tuesdays, and I had people after the fact, like months after the game came out, asking me when Xenoblade X Definitive Edition was going to come out because they hadn't even heard it was being announced. This was months after the game came out. I'm not entirely sure why Nintendo elected to not do a direct just for X Definitive Edition, or to announce the game during a direct or anything like that. I'm not entirely sure. I do think it was a bad decision, and it was probably them testing, or at least in some part testing, styles of marketing for games and to see just how much of a boost maybe a direct can give for a game, and stuff like that. But at the same time, the game came out only a few months before the Switch 2 came out. Of course, for Nintendo fans, on a Nintendo platform, they're going to be more interested talking about the new piece of hardware, because that's where all the excitement is. That's where all the conversation online is. Hype and conversation is a snowball effect online. And with all the controversy surrounding the Switch 2 when it came to the pricing, when it came to, well, largely the pricing, that was for the Switch 2. A game that seems reasonably priced, coming out on popular hardware, the Switch 1 already. That's not particularly controversial or dramatic. But again, at the same time, when you don't market the thing particularly well at all, you're not giving a bunch of people outside of the Xenoblade bubble much of a reason to talk or interface or interact with the game. So do I think, like, Nintendo were perfect when it comes to marketing Xenoblade X Definitive Edition? Absolutely not. It should have been on the Switch 2, like, frame one. In my opinion, it should have been a launch title for the Switch 2. Just push it back a few months. Have it come out on the Switch 2 and also the Switch 1. That way it can benefit from conversation for the Switch 2 and also pad out that game's launch window. But that's not what they did, whatever. But still, at this point in time, we still don't know if we're ever going to get Switch 2 versions of Xenoblade 1, 2, or 3, and especially X. I would love to see them, because I value frame rate for my games, and that would make the game run and almost certainly look better. I would be in favor of that. But I also know of quite a few people that want to play the game, they're just waiting for an inevitable Switch 2 version because it seems so freaking likely, because it makes so much common sense, and they're just simply waiting to see if it does come out for the Switch 2 because they would rather play it like that when it looks and runs better. That makes sense. It's a very stacked year. 2025 has a lot going for it for games. And I'm not even saying this population of people are necessarily the majority or anything. I'm just saying it's a slice of the pie. And again, we don't know how the game performed by itself. We just simply don't know. Nintendo hasn't said it. And Nintendo also just announced a Switch 2 version of Animal Crossing. So it's not like they're entirely done with doing Switch 2 versions of games. It could just be that Monolith and or Nintendo haven't gotten around to it yet. I think Xenoblade X Definitive Edition can absolutely see another shot in the arm when it comes to online discussion and overall hype for it whenever they do Switch 2 versions of the Xenoblade games. Again, they're not confirmed or anything, it just makes too much logical sense not to do it. But time will tell and we shall see.
Cause of the righteous.
Okay, I want to talk about in this section, like, the defeatist attitude a lot of people have in regards to this game. One, the quality and goodness of a game isn't directly correlated to its popularity. I know the implication there is that I'm saying Xenoblade X isn't popular. What I'm saying is, even if it isn't a high-selling game or anything like that, that doesn't mean the game itself is bad. For me, Xenoblade X was in one of my top positions for my favorite game of all time. That was the original version, and I prefer Definitive Edition. For me, I think my 3 favorite games of all time right now are like Nier Automata at number 1, and then 2 and 3 are basically tied, and it's Xenoblade 2 or Xenoblade X Definitive Edition. And they're basically tied. I love the game so much. I have so much fun with the game. I enjoy the game. It's going to be one that I revisit numerous times down the line. I adore it and I hold it in the highest of regards. And I've been down this road before. I remember what online discussion surrounding Xenoblade 2 was like after that game first came out. People on the internet like to be very loud when they don't like something. It's one of the reasons that negativity gets pushed onto all of us all the freaking time. But it's a good game. Is it perfect? No. But any of the actual core reasons for the gameplay loop, like having problems or being issues, I would also put right onto the numbered games as well. At least in terms of popularity. I mean, like, Xenoblade isn't as big as it is currently because of its gameplay. It just isn't. I like the gameplay, but not everything that I or you are going to like necessarily means it's going to be widely popular. Xenoblade X is also a game that really punishes you if you don't know how to read, or if you don't pay attention to how to actually build your character. It's a game that also just appeals to a slightly different player than the numbered games technically do. So you will always have some people that like the numbered games, but don't like the vibe of X, and also vice versa. There are plenty of people that like X and just don't like the numbered games, because they are different styles of game, even if the combat is rather similar. That's fine. People are always going to have opinions about this kind of stuff, but I think the people trying to act as if the game is already a categorical, irredeemable failure are doing no one any favors, and if you actually like and love the game of Xenoblade X, you're not doing it any favors by trying to act like it's also just a big failure when, again, we don't know anything. It's also a single-player game, by the way. Of course, conversation around it's going to die down after a few months. Like, duh, that always happens. With, like, maybe some rare exceptions, but those are exceptions, not the rule. And also, let's be fair, yeah, it does have multiplayer, but the multiplayer is very bare bones. And most people, I imagine, are going to treat it like a single-player game. So when you consume the game, when you have played it, a lot of people are going to put it down, especially when there's a new piece of kit, a new piece of hardware that has just come out to talk about and focus on. It's like, yeah, duh, of course that's going to happen. People online like to treat everything like it's the end of the world or something. Sometimes things just happen. Sometimes games perform well, sometimes they perform poorly, sometimes they perform averagely. There is this very, very weird defeatist attitude surrounding this game. And I get it. A lot of people wanted this game to be made for so long. We wanted a continuation of X. I wanted a continuation of X, and I got it with Definitive Edition. I am thoroughly satisfied and happy with the state and quality of the game. It's basically everything I wanted, and I'm not going to act or pretend like the game's a failure, because I love the game. I adore this game. And I'm especially not going to act like it's a failure because people want to guess as to how the game performed. Utter lunacy.
Cause of the righteous.
Okay, maybe a bit more of a heated video than I normally do on the channel, but I have been seeing a lot of people act like this game is just a categorical failure, as if it's like already dead or something, which is very weird to say for a single player game. I'm going to reiterate, and I've been thinking about this topic for a while now, so I just wanted to put those thoughts out there. Here's where you come in. Leave a comment down below with your favorite element of Xenoblade Chronicles X, whether it's the old version or the new one. What was your favorite memory? What's your favorite element of the game? I'd love to hear your thoughts, hear your opinions, and hear your perspectives. For me, I mean, come on, it's got to be the skull system. It's so freaking cool. Be able to pilot a giant mech and fly or jump around the world of Mira. Oh my god, the visuals of some of those zones are just so freaking good. Here's to the future. I hope they do a Switch 2 version. I really do. And I hope it's sooner rather than later. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out and helps support future content, and I greatly appreciate it. And you know what? Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition is one of the boldest games I've ever seen. Like, this game has balls for doing what it did narratively. It had faith in itself, it trusted itself, and you know what? I think they stuck the landing. And if you want to hear my thoughts about this whole subject and what I'm talking about, you should check out this video right here for more. Stay safe, everybody. Have a great day, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Until we meet again.